Hello, hello! Welcome to today's live English lesson here on the Speak English with Vanessa YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you're here to improve your English, to participate, and to remember what we're talking about. That's the goal. I want you to be able to use it and remember it in the future. Today we have an important topic, two challenging and possibly confusing words that after today's lesson, you're going to feel much more confident about, you're going to understand, and it's my goal to help you as much as possible. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm Vanessa, and I teach English here on this YouTube channel and on my website, speakenglishwithvanessa.com. So I hope that this lesson will be useful to you and that you'll enjoy it a lot. Thank you to everyone who's joining me live today from Thailand and Venezuela, Morocco, Japan, Egypt, Spain, Poland, Brazil, Colombia. Wonderful. Thanks for joining me. Let's start today's lesson with a question. Because we're talking about two words today, I want to talk about one word and then we'll talk about the second word. And the reason why I don't want to mix them is because I want you to feel clear and confident about one of them before we move to the second one. So my first question is, how long have you been studying English seriously? How long have you been studying English seriously? Maybe you started learning English when you were a kid. Maybe you started in high school, but those were just classes. You didn't really have a choice. You weren't so serious about studying. So I want to know, when did you start studying seriously? Maybe a couple years ago, maybe yesterday, maybe today. Sebastian says 2 years. Barack says 2 to 3 years. Gabriella says 7 years. 2 years, 2 months, 11 years, 3 years. All right. So can we turn your answers into a sentence that uses one of our key words today? I'm going to write down, let's choose, Renata says for 3 years. So let's use Renata's answer, 3 years, to create a sentence using since. Since. Let's say I've, and don't forget this is have, I've been studying English seriously. What can we write here? Since. Let's say since 2000, if you said 3 years, so that would be what, 2014. Since 2014. So here we have our keyword, since. I've been studying English seriously since 2014. Here's our lovely phrase. And the real purpose of this sentence is to show other people that it hasn't finished. You are still studying English seriously. This is a continual thing that's happening right now too. And maybe that's why you're watching this live lesson or you're participating in it. You're watching the replay maybe later because you are still studying English seriously. And that is our key for this word, since. This means it's continuing now. It's still continuing. Wow, I think I've used these markers for so many live lessons that now they're almost empty. Wow, that's good news. It means there's been a lot of live lessons. So this is a continual action. We've got a lot of great sentences that you all are making here live in the chat box. So I want to take a chance to read those for just a moment. And let's see what you're saying. Fifi says, I've been studying English seriously since 2008. Amina says, I've been studying English seriously since 2012. Great. I've been studying English since 2016. Saulo says, I've been studying English seriously since 1990. Congratulations. I think you're the winner here. So for you, you've been studying since a certain point. And this is talking about the past. It has to happen in the past. You started in the past and it's continuing until now. Let me ask you a couple questions because I think we can take this to the next level. And the next level is negative sentences. So I'd like to ask you 2 negative sentences. And later when we talk about the second word, I'm going to ask you 2 negative sentences as well. So I think that this will help to challenge you and also help you to use it in a variety of situations. So first of all, let me ask the question and let's see how you answer, and then I'll give you some tips. My question is, when was the last time that you ate? When was the last time that you ate? For me, it's 9 a.m. right now, and I haven't eaten breakfast yet. So for me, it's been a while since I ate the last time. So how can I write this in a negative sentence? When was the last time that you ate? I'm going to make a little line here. Let's separate our sentences, and I'm going to write my answer. And I need to use a negative word here. I haven't eaten since. Lovely word. Oh, isn't it great? Since last night. Because I had dinner last night, but I haven't eaten since last night. Here we have a continual action. Haven't eaten. It's still continuing. And it's continuing now because, as you can tell, I'm not eating right now. I'm talking. I'll eat later after this lesson. So this is a continual action, but it's the next level because it's a negative question. So I want you all to write similar sentences and to think about, when was the last time that you ate? I haven't eaten since last night. I'm starving. I haven't eaten since Monday. Oh no, please go eat. A lot of you are writing great sentences here too. Esther says, I haven't eaten chocolate since last week. Oh, for you, you're missing chocolate. I haven't eaten since 7 a.m. Beautiful sentence. I haven't eaten since 7 a.m. Maybe that was breakfast for you, and now it's the afternoon, or now it's the evening. So maybe you're hungry. I haven't eaten since 8 p.m. For me, it's 2 p.m. and I haven't eaten since breakfast. So you're pretty hungry. You're ready to eat lunch. There's a continual thing that's happening, and it's continuing now. You're still not eating yet. Hopefully soon if you're hungry. Let me ask you a second question. This is a similar sentence structure, so I hope that it will be comfortable to you. My question is, when was the last time that you traveled abroad? When was the last time that you traveled abroad? And I challenge you to try to write a similar negative sentence using since. When was the last time that you traveled abroad? For me, last year I went to Europe. It was a wonderful trip, beautiful place, lots of great memories, but I could say I haven't traveled abroad since. We've got our keyword. I haven't traveled abroad since last year. So it has been 1 year. I think almost exactly 1 year. I think in June of 2016, I went to Germany and France and Switzerland and Italy and kind of Austria. So for me, I haven't traveled abroad since last year. Here is our wonderful phrase, and it's still continuing now because I'm not abroad right now. I'm in the US, so this action, even though it's negative, it's still continuing now. We've got some lovely sentences live here. I haven't traveled abroad since last month. Excellent. I haven't traveled abroad since February. I haven't traveled abroad since 2016. I haven't traveled abroad since I was born, which means I've never traveled abroad. Hopefully someday you get the opportunity to travel abroad. All right, are you ready to challenge your mind with the second word? We've talked about since, this continual action going until now, but what about the next word? If you saw the title of today's lesson, you probably know what it is, but our word is until. Until. So I'd like to ask you a question. This is an introduction question to help you think about this concept. My question is, how old were you when you finished school? How old were you when you finished school? Maybe you finished high school when you were 17, or maybe you went to college, university, master's degree. So you finished when you were 25, when you were 35. How old were you when you finished school? In the US, we use the word school to talk about any kind of education in a classroom. So it's not just high school or elementary school. How old were you? Saulo says, I was 23. I was 23. Let's take this answer, 23. And it's pretty similar to me. I think I finished when I was 21. 21. So we have similar answers. Let's make a sentence using until with 23. We're going to make this a positive sentence, and then we'll talk about negative sentences later. So Paulo has some continual action with until. I went to school until I was 23, or we could say 23 years old. Here we have our keyword. This is our second keyword today. What do you think it means in this situation? Because in the live chat box, Saulo told us that he went to school. He finished school when he was 23. So is this continuing now? He went to school probably for a long time, so it was continuing, but our key difference here, this was continuing, but not now. It's finished now. So we can imagine it used to be continuing, and now the action has stopped. The action has finished. So you're not in school anymore. That's why we're using until. What if you are still in school? Maybe it's continuing now. Maybe you are doing your master's degree in engineering. You're doing your master's degree in engineering. You could say, oh, I have been in school since 1984. My degree is taking so long. It means that it's continuing now. You're doing it at the moment. But I imagine for most of you, you're probably not a student right now. So this is something that was continuing, but now it has stopped. So let's make sure that we remember this difference and use it in my next couple questions, because that is a huge difference. It has stopped now. So let me ask you a negative question. We're going to try to use this in the next level. And if you have any questions or any issues, don't worry. I'll try my best to give you some feedback and to answer them clearly. Are you ready for my first question? Using until. Until. I want to know, when was the first time that you got a smartphone? When was the first time that you got a smartphone? Maybe you don't have a smartphone now, but let's imagine that you have a smartphone. When was the first time that you got a smartphone? So we're going to be writing, we already talked about positive sentences. We're going to be taking it to the next level and talk about negative sentences. Something that was continuing, but it's not continuing now. When did you get a smartphone? For me, I think it was 2014, maybe 2014. So what can I say using until and making it negative? Something happened continual and then it stopped. What stopped when I got my first smartphone? Well, not having a smartphone. I didn't have a smartphone for my whole life until 2014. So let's make that sentence here. I didn't have a smartphone until 2014. Or you could say until last year, until yesterday. Until. So we have a continual action that stopped in 2014. So now I have a smartphone. This is not true for me now. I didn't have a smartphone. So at the moment, I have a smartphone. This action is not continuing at the moment. It is not now. So I need to use the word until to talk about that breaking point, the stopping point, until 2014. Something changed in 2014 and I got a smartphone. In fact, in 2012 and 2013, Dan and I shared a flip phone for 2 years and it was no problem. And then in 2014, I believe, we decided to get one smartphone when we were living in Korea, and we shared it for a year, and it was great. It's amazing when you try new technologies or something new that really brings a lot of information into your life. You always wonder, how did I live without this? But I definitely lived without it until 2014 with no problems. So a lot of you are writing great sentences here. I want to take a chance to read your sentences. Victor says, I didn't have a smartphone until 2012. Great. May says, I didn't have a smartphone until I was 15 years old. This is a great way to change this final part. You're making it a little more complex. Until I was 15 years old. Adalberto says, I didn't have a smartphone until I was 23 years old. Oh, Nugent says, I didn't have a smartphone until my brother gave me one. Beautiful. So here, we're talking about the moment that it changed. Until my brother gave me one. Until I was 15. Until 2014, something stopped. Let me ask you my second question, my second negative question. You're doing great making these complex because the negative sentences can be a little more challenging. My second question is, When was the first time that you realized studying English online was a good option? I think a lot of us grew up without the internet, so this is a completely new concept to learn online. So when was the first time? Here we're using our similar idea. When was the first time that you realized, oh, I can learn English on YouTube. I can learn English on the internet. This is great. Podcasts, music, videos, live lessons. When was the first time? So again, we need to make a negative sentence. Ooh, a good challenge, making a negative sentence. You might say, I didn't realize. I'll just say that. We're condensing. That means learning English online is a good option. I didn't realize that until, let's see. Oh, Gabriela says until this year. Excellent. I'll write that. Until this year. So something big changed this year for you. Until this year. All of my life, I didn't realize it was continuing. I didn't realize, boom, until this year. Something changed this year. And now I know that learning English online is a good option. It's another way to immerse yourself in English. Let me take a look at some of your live sentences here. Oh, maybe we could say, Saulo says, I didn't realize that until last year. Tiago says, I didn't realize that I could study English online until 2 years ago. I didn't realize that until last year. Great. Better late than never. Oh, Coolander says, I didn't realize that I could learn English online until my teacher told me. So your teacher introduced you to learning online. Great. I didn't realize that until I got bad grades at school. Oh, so maybe your negative experience at school forced you to try another option. I didn't realize that until I found your YouTube channel. Oh, great. I'm so glad that this is useful to you. So for your whole life, you didn't realize you could learn English online until you clicked Speak English with Vanessa. And then you realized, I can learn English online until that moment. All right, we've talked about a lot of things today. You've done such a great job using both of these words, using something that's continuing until now and something that was continuing, but now it's not anymore. So to finish our lesson, we're going to say one kind of long sentence all together, and I hope that it will be useful for you and enjoyable because you can imagine friends from all over the world in Italy, Vietnam, Colombia, Russia, China, wherever you are, you can imagine other friends saying the same thing. Hopefully this will connect us because that's the great thing about English, language in general, that when you can speak the same language as someone else, you're connecting with them in a real way. So let's imagine friends all around the world saying this sentence together. It's kind of like a mini dictation practice. So this means that I'm going to say it, I'm not going to write it, and I want you to write it in the comments, write it in the chat box, write it on your arm, write it on the wall if you want to make your family angry. But write this down so that you can see if your ears are hearing it correctly. We're going to combine both of these words. Are you ready? The sentence is kind of long. I already wrote it down because I wanted to create something creative. Are you ready? Let's say, since I was young, I've wanted to learn English, but I didn't know it was possible until today. Maybe for you, you realized it was possible a couple years ago, but let's just say this together. Since I was young, I've wanted to learn English, but I didn't know it was possible until today. So here in this sentence, we have a continual action. You're still wanting to learn English. You're still wanting to improve your English. Since I was young, I've wanted to learn English. Still today, but I didn't know it was possible. We have our breaking time until today. So today is when you realized it's possible. I can learn English. I can understand Vanessa. I can understand these questions. I can make sentences accurately. Great. I hope that your mind feels clear and comfortable. So let's say this sentence slowly together. I want you to imitate my pronunciation, and then we'll say it quickly together. Are you ready? Since I was young, I've wanted to learn English, but I didn't know it was possible until today. We've got some great natural pronunciation, especially words like wanted. That T is cut out. I wanted to learn English. So make sure that you're following carefully and slowly to improve your pronunciation. And now let's say it quickly. Since I was young, I've wanted to learn English, but I didn't know it was possible until today. Since I was young, I've wanted to learn English, but I didn't know it was possible until today. I hope that that's true for you. And maybe it was last month or last year, but I hope that now you feel like it's more possible to learn English. That's my goal, to help you as much as I can. Thank you so much for joining me today for this live lesson. If you think, no, Vanessa, don't go, well, I have good news. There are a lot of English lessons on my YouTube channel. Maybe you didn't know that until today. Well, you can go to my YouTube channel and watch probably hours and hours and hours of English lessons if you would like. So you can do that. And if you would like to be even more immersed in English, I recommend reading my free ebook, 5 Steps to Becoming a Confident English Speaker. In this free ebook that you can download, print it, put it under your pillow, put it on your wall, cook it in a soup if you're a little crazy, just anything to help you remember and immerse yourself in English. This free ebook will help you to know what's the next step for you, because there's a lot of options. The internet is a great place to learn, but sometimes it can be overwhelming. So I hope that for you, this ebook will help to guide you. And I'll also send you 2 free email lessons every week to help you reach the next level and feel more comfortable and confident. I hope that these will be useful to you. And thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time and energy, and I'll see you again the next time. Bye, everyone. See you later.